been a moonshiner ever since that I've been born. I've drunk up all of my money and stealed up all of my corn. I'll go up some dark hollow and put up my moonshine still. See, I'll make you 1 gallon for a $5 bill. I'll go up some dark hollow and get you some booze. See.
Welcome back to Appalachian Haunts and Haints. This is episode 2, where we'll be covering Crazy George's Bridge and the Witches Cemetery in Putnam County, Tennessee. This episode created a few challenges for us. One of those was, well, this is the first time we actually went on location, did some filming, got some footage, which required a lot of video editing. But Missy's done a heck of a job learning how to edit videos and create a great show for everyone. We had to do multiple takes. You want to tell them about the multiple takes?
Yeah. Okay, and just backing up a little bit, I am no videographer. This is one of the very first times I've ever attempted it, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys don't, have some kind of, issue with the shakiness of the camera. I will get better. So, yeah, the first time that we went to do the footage, we had to retake again and again because we kept losing sound every time we would go into the cemetery. When we went to Crazy George's Bridge, out of the middle of nowhere was a very nice young man named Harrison. Hi, Harrison, if you really exist.
From Martin?
From Martin. He was there and agreed to do an interview with us to just kind of talk about the stories that he had heard. He was going to TTU and decided that he was just going to take a drive. I assume he was going to TTU, yeah?
Yeah, I think he had a T-Tech shirt on.
He did, yeah. But that footage disappeared. So we have no proof that Harrison, if you even exist, was even there. But he was still a great guy. Harrison, if you want to reach out to us and do a separate interview, man, we would love to have you. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about was what you can expect from Haunts and Haints. We want to be able to just do local scenery. I'm very big on local scenery. Again, this is my very first time doing video, but I'm a photographer by nature, so I kind of was able to maneuver my way through the editing. Again, we will get better. So we really want to highlight some kind of song. We want to, highlight an Appalachian song, a folk song, looking at the history that's just absolutely amazing. We love being able to support our local restaurants. That's another thing that we'd like to do. We want to maybe try to footnote every episode with, a local restaurant that's in the area, someplace that's, not a chain restaurant. We're foodies. When we travel, we have traveled everywhere. We love to hit the small places. We love the mom and pop diners. We love the holes in the wall. So that's something that we're going to be looking forward to. If you guys have any suggestions on restaurants in your area that we should go to and check out and highlight on our show, please let us know that. That'd be great. Again, we are a huge fan of going to sites that are indicative of that area. We love going to iconic sites. You'll see in the second episode we have the Ronald Reagan wall, we have the pink elephant, we have just several of the things that are kind of iconic to the locale, and that's something that we really enjoy doing, and we want to keep that up. So if you know of any place that you feel like that we should highlight, or anything that's just, pretty damn cool, just let us know. You want to talk about the song?
Yes.
Okay.
The song we highlight in this episode is conveniently Crazy George's Bridge.
Not conveniently, we found it. It's excellent.
Yes, it was a very good stroke of luck that we found the song. Crazy George's Bridge by Caleb and Leanne, who are a group local to our area. Too many R's. So we highlight that song in this episode, and we thank them very much for letting us use that song. The restaurant we went to during this trip was Los Agaves.
Los Agaves.
Los Agaves, Mexican restaurant in Monterey. And I've eaten a lot of Mexican, and it is by far my favorite.
And the bacon wrapped jalapenos.
Bacon wrapped jalapenos. If you go to Los Agaves in Monterey, get the bacon wrapped jalapenos. They're worth it.
Yep. Oh, we should have attached pictures. We'll attach pictures on our website.
Yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. We can post pictures there also.
Yep. Another thing that we would like to do is kind of let you guys know who the Tingler family is. We would like to bring some of the stars from some of the other shows that you may already love, or maybe you don't know that you love them yet. We want to take them on trips with us. We were gonna take, I would love to get the horror basement guys to come down and tour a place with us. Tennessee Macabre. Those are shows that you would find really amazing if you haven't already seen them. And if you have, wouldn't you like to see your guys on a trip with us?
And that's all we have. Let's get to the footage, and hope you guys enjoy watching it as much as we enjoyed making it over and over and over again.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
If the revenues don't get me no money, will I lose?
So, here we are at another local legend from Putnam County. This is the Witches Cemetery. Officially named Stamps Cemetery.
Also known as Witches Cemetery, take 483.
Yes. Yes, take 483. So, the reason why, there are at least two reasons why people believe there are witches here. One is that many of the older stones have stars, pentagrams, carved into the top, underneath the names. There are several of those. And another reason is because of the tent graves. So the story started. Now, we've neither confirmed nor denied whether there are witches buried here or not. But we do know that the legend of the Witches Cemetery was created in the 1960s by the TTU, Baptist Student Union. Okay, so the story goes that in the 1960s, the TTU Baptist Student Union used this cemetery for initiations into their fraternity, into their group. They would bring initiates up here, drop them off, and they told them that the stars on the headstones represented witches. The upright pentagrams were good witches. The upside down pentagrams were bad witches. And that's how the story began. So, and they would leave the initiates here, and that continued for over the years until the story just expanded, and people in the area came to believe that there really are witches buried in this cemetery. They also used the fact that these graves have stones over them. These are commonly known as tent graves or comb graves, and and I guess they didn't know this in the 60s as much as they do now, but they're commonly used in the upper Cumberland region for various reasons. For erosion, to keep animals, because of the area is rocky, they tended to bury bodies shallower than usual. So the stones kept the animals from digging up bodies. And there are many speculations as to why tent graves were used in this area, but we will be doing an episode on the tent graves, and we'll explain then in more detail about where they're located and why they're used, and get into a little more historical fact about those, because in truth the tent graves are really legends in themselves. So that'll be an interesting subject to tackle. And that's the Witches Cemetery in Putnam County, Tennessee.
And see, you can notice some of the stars are upside down and some are right side up. When you were doing your research, what did you find about that?
One thing we've noticed is that this isn't the only cemetery with these stars. We've seen other headstones like these, older headstones with that star on it. And they believe in reality that star is there because either they believe that the person may have been, that may be their symbol, their mark, representative of their work when it comes to engraving the headstones, or that it was done by a professional, or maybe in the family patriarch may have been a mason. Because if you look at the stones, and this is a really good one here, you can see that there is a midpoint marked inside the stones, almost like a compass, where you would fix the midpoint and then create the star from there.
Okay, so Ray, this is the grandbaby. Tell us what you're doing.
So I'm picking up money because it's respectful to pick up other money. If you don't know what I'm picking up money for, the only reason that we leave money is because, and if you take the money, it's very disrespectful if you take the money from the grave.
So what are you doing here? Show us what you're doing right here.
I'm picking up money.
And what are you doing with them?
Putting it back on the grave.
Right, because sometimes they fall off, right?
Yeah.
Again. So why do you think people leave money?
To be grateful.
So if you notice, there's lots of money that's down here that have fallen off the graves of the witches. And a lot of times people will come and leave money or leave trinkets, and yep.
This is an example of what money could look like if you pick it off the ground.
Right, and then where are you going to put that? Put it right back up there, huh? Because sometimes people will put their hopes and dreams. Maybe they would like to give respects to the witches that were here. Okay, so let's pick up. What are you doing, Mackie? Are you picking up the money and putting it back on graves?
Yes.
Yes. Now, I saw you over there picking up some flowers and fixing it. And it looks like maybe people's had, this is some, looks like people have been burning some candles here. Maybe to pay their respects, or in the pagan community, in the Wiccan community, maybe to help gain some extra strength. Maybe have, maybe bring more power to whatever spell or charm or charging that you're trying to do. Oh, here's some more money over here.
Oh, where?
Right here. Right there. There and there. Okay, you gonna put it back up there? Awesome. Okay. All right, Crazy George's Bridge take
438.
430. I think we're at 440. Okay, so this is a place that I grew up with, and when I grew up here, it was just a wooden bridge, and it was terrifying. We would take hay rides up here, and we would hear the stories, and the story that I heard was that Crazy George was an old man who enjoyed drinking, and he was quite an alcoholic, and he was walking on these railroad tracks, and he passed out or stumbled and fell, not really sure, but he was decapitated by this train. And so if you're here after midnight, you can see a light and a lantern, the light of a lantern, looking for his head. And there was also another version of it that I heard, that it was his fiance that was looking for his head, looking for her true love that was lost. And you know, we're up on Buck Mountain, and also growing up, this was just a place that you didn't come to at night. You know, during the Satanic Panic, it was, you know, a place that devil worshippers came, and you know, you never left your black cats outside, so you could guarantee that on Halloween night the devil worshippers were up here maiming and marring them. And so of course none of that was true, well, except for the account that the one kid told, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But so okay, Michael, go ahead.
So there's also a legend that well, you know, you heard the one about the drunk George. It's also the legend about the night watchman, that the Crazy George was the night watchman who got killed by a train. They also say that if you come up here and you park your car and shut your car off after midnight, it won't restart. And they also say, you know, if you say his name 3 times, it's always 3 times. Candyman, Bloody Mary, Beetlejuice, Crazy George, always 3. Then he'll appear. But, and people have had some unique experiences here at this bridge. And we're not going to discount that. But the Crazy George story the legend does come from a true, real story. And the real story is that in 1931, a guy named Norman Stamps, who was who was engaged to be married, went to a pie supper with his fiance and family at Woodcliff Baptist Church in Monterey, which is actually, follow these tracks, you'll go right to Woodcliff Baptist Church, or this road. Both of these directions lead to Woodcliff Baptist Church. And the story goes that he bought the wrong girl's pie at the pie supper, which upset his fiance and upset the girl's boyfriend. And that story will come into play later on in the story. So that day, he took off, dropped his fiance off at her house, and they came down these tracks and met up with the night watchman somewhere on these tracks. Now, the night watchman's job was to protect the train from debris. His job was to keep the debris clear from the tracks. And you can see over there that it's very steep and rocks falling on the tracks and things like that. And his job was to keep it clear and make sure the train didn't hit anything. So Norman went and talked to this guy. They were coon hunting buddies, and he had a conversation with this guy about some coon dogs that were about to be born. And after then, Norman had had a few drinks. So this night watchman tried to get Norman to stay at his night watchman shack, sleep it off, and start back in the next morning. But Norman told the night watchman that since he was getting married in 2 weeks, this was probably the last good meal he was going to have. So he had to get home. So off he went. Well, the next morning, the night watchman came out, and he found Norman. Found his story goes is that he found Norman's watch, then he found Norman's hat, and then he found Norman dead on the tracks. He was not beheaded, according, even though the story claims he was, but he did have a severed arm, and his skull was crushed. And they cleaned up, he called for help, they cleaned up what they could. They rushed back to Monterey, went into the church to let people know what had happened, and Norman's fiance just happened to be there. And she passed out she fainted from the news. But the reason why I mentioned her earlier is because while she fainted from the news, we're not really sure how heartbroken she was, because on the same date she was supposed to marry Norman, she married some other guy. There was a murder investigation, of which nothing came about. They determined it was an accident. It was just a drunken guy who got in the way of a train and got hit. So that's the story. And that's what happened on May 2nd, 1931. Now, you can see the bridge now is concrete. You can see all the graffiti because of people coming down here and painting on the bridge. But in the 1930s, when this bridge was built, it was a wooden bridge. And it was a wooden bridge. Missy remembers when it was a wooden bridge. It was a wooden bridge until I believe the 90s, when on Halloween night, someone blew it up with dynamite. And they rebuilt it as a concrete bridge. And that's the story of Crazy George's Bridge and the untimely demise of Norman Stamps.
Some say you never saw that freight train coming. Some say it was another. many friends. Oh no, don't cross Crazy George's bridge.
Okay, so we have Dillard Washington stamps.
That would be Norman's father.
Okay. Who are the rest of them?
We have Dewey Clinton stamps. That would be Norman's brother. 2-year-old brother. James T. Stamps, his 1-year-old brother. Over here we have Mary Ellen Stamps, who was Norman's mother. And here we have Norman. Born April 12th, 1912, and he died May 2nd, 1931. Norman is the guy who died on the railroad tracks in Putnam County, Tennessee, that created the Crazy George legend. Says he's gone but not forgotten. In one way he is forgotten, in another way he's not. He'll always be remembered not as Norman Stamps, but as Crazy George. But his story will always be remembered, just not his name.
Oh my gosh, I'm starving. You hungry?
Yes.
Los Agaves?
Yes.
Yay! Excellent.
Do it.
Oh gosh, this is the best restaurant. This is in Monterey, Tennessee. They have got the most delicious bacon-wrapped, deep-fried jalapenos. When I was a kid, this was the cup and saucer. It's just kind of a local favorite, and I'm so glad that when they closed down that they ended up putting something really, really amazing. So we're in Monterey, and the original name was actually Standing Stone. And here is the Standing Stone. Every year they have Standing Stone Day. I assume they have it every year. They used to.
Around here there's a story that no one likes to tell. How an old bridge and a love gone wrong opened the gates of hell. How a flask of mountain whiskey on a drunken dark walk home held a secret to the mystery that only dead men know. Listen to me, friends. Oh no, don't cross Crazy George's bridge. At a week-long church revival in the spring of 31, George arrived in the spirit, but not the Holy One. He was sent to Mary, the one sitting by his side, but the mix of lust and liquor made some other plans that night. Some say he never saw that freight train coming. Some say it was another man's woman he was loving. Some say he met his fate at the wrong end of the night, but the watchman swore into the Lord. When the sun came up that morning, all they found was George's hat. But the legend says on certain nights the rest of him comes back. Some say you never saw that parade train coming. Some say it was another man's woman he was loving. Some say he met his fate at the wrong end of the night. But the watchman swore him to the Lord when he saw him he was alive. Oh, listen to me, friend. Oh no, don't cross Crazy George's bridge. Oh, listen to me, friends. Oh no, don't cross Crazy George's bridge.